This ain't just a channel, this is BBTV.
Welcome to What the Fork Wednesday, the stories that make you stop, blink twice, and ask yourself how this is real life. Logic has left the building. Let's begin.
Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting, turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling when she hits go live, everybody feels it.
Kidding me. The whole thing. All right, we're going to start over because, yeah, I can do that. So welcome back, everybody. This is Ask a Bee, and I was on mute. What the Fork Wednesday is definitely starting out the way it should. So today's show is absolutely loaded because somehow the universe decided to line up multiple stories about music, neighbors, roommates, coworkers, thin walls, and what happens when people finally hit their petty breaking point. And listen, some of these folks tried being polite. Some of them snapped. Some of them brought Bluetooth speakers into the situation like it was a boss battle. And by the end of the day, today, I promise you, we are going to figure out where the line really is between standing your ground and just choosing chaos. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, jump into the chat, and let's get into our first story because this one starts in a backyard with music and neighbor who, was already fed up. And I'll be honest, we have a little friend that was here yesterday that absolutely inspired this one. So let me load this one up here for you. And pardon me. Blah, blah. Yes, I know. Here I go. All right, here we go. Number one. Let's get into it. AITA for refusing to put down my music after a neighbor asked in a rude way. Let's think about that one for a minute. Hello, XYS. How are you? Good to see you. Okay, so we are a family of 4, 39 female, husband, and 2 kids. We have a backyard with a pool. Our neighbors are lovely people who rarely are outside. We love to play music, and it is not aggressive music, Elton John style music. We live in a neighborhood of mostly older people with no kids. A new neighbor moved in 2 years ago. One time asked us to bring the music down at 11 a.m. The music was not blasting loud. It was like coffee shop music. We did out of respect. That's nice. Then refused to say hello to us after that without wanting to build a relationship, even after many attempts from us. Well, that's kind of rude. So they saw a young couple who liked to play music and enjoy splashing around with their kids. We don't play music after 8 p.m. Okay, well, that's polite, right? I mean, no problems here. I do play music when we have people over, and we do a lot because we like life and enjoy our backyard. Nothing wrong with that. I've got a rogue hair, y'all. Give me a second here. All right, so let me just move this stuff to the back. Today, when I had all my guests, this neighbor asked me to turn down the music again. I said, no, it's 2 p.m. It's a holiday, and we have some people over. The people were kids, parents, and grandparents. We're not rowdy. He said, you always impose your music on us. I told him, we're not doing anything wrong. It's not very loud. I could have been nicer, but the way he approached us was rude, and he looked fed up. Mind you, summer here started like 2 days ago. I was very aggravated and refused to stop the music. If he would have come to me and no people here, fine, I get it. Tell me nicely, please. I just want to sit outside with some peace and quiet. I still don't agree. My backyard, I'll do what I want, but I would love, or I would have turned it down to be civilized. I wish more neighbors played music. I wouldn't mind it. It would make the neighborhood feel alive. But we don't do this daily. I just found it so rude. But am I the a hole? Should I suck it up? All right, let's answer this one because I want to be clear here because people love to twist these situations into moral courtroom dramas, right? You're not throwing raves at midnight. You're not running outdoor speakers at dawn. And you're not terrorizing the block with the subwoofers, right? You're playing mellow music in your own backyard in the middle of the afternoon during summer, with families and kids present, okay? After already establishing that you stop by 8 p.m. And that matters, okay? Because daytime noise is in a residential neighborhood is normal human being living life behavior, especially when it's occasional gatherings and not an everyday soundtrack to existence, right? So no, on the basic facts, you are not the a-hole for refusing to turn it down at 2 p.m. on a holiday. And the part that really sticks out to me is not the music itself, but the pattern. Because you complied the first time out of respect, tried to be friendly afterwards, and were met with cold shoulders, which suggests this neighbor didn't just want quieter music. They decided 2 years ago that they don't like you. And everything since then has been filtered through that lens. So when they come over already annoyed and say, you always impose your music on us, that isn't a request. That's an accusation. And most people are going to bristle at that, okay? Especially when they're hosting guests, okay? Come on. Wrangling kids by a pool. That's not the moment to ambush someone with hostility and expect saint level diplomacy in return. It's not going to happen. No. Could you have been sweeter in the moment? Sure. But being irritated when someone approaches you rudely, that does not suddenly turn you into some neighborhood menace. That's just being human. And honestly, I think people underestimate how much tone matters in these conflicts, because the same sentence delivered politely versus aggressively can get two completely different outcomes. Say I'm wrong. I'm not. Sorry. If they had walked up and said, hey, sorry to bother you, any chance you could turn that down just a bit? We're trying to sit outside too. This whole thing might not have even existed, right? But they didn't. They came in hot and you matched energy, which is predictable, not monstrous. So my verdict is not the a-hole. You get a little honey here with a strategic footnote, okay? Meaning you're within your rights to enjoy your yard and your music during the day. But if you don't want this to turn into a multi-year grudge match, you got to live by these people, right? The smartest move isn't to back down forever or go nuclear every time. It's to set calm, boring boundaries when nobody's heated. Something like, we really try to be respectful and keep it off at night. If it's genuinely too loud, just ask nicely and we'll talk. Because that puts the ball in their court while making you look like the adult in the room. What do I say every single day? Don't react, my friends. Don't react. And if they keep acting sour after that, then you can live your life knowing you aren't the one escalating. Bottom line, you don't have to suck it up and live in silence. You don't owe someone eternal compliance because they dislike your music. You will have, you'll save yourself a lot of future stress by just staying firm without turning every sunny afternoon into a fence line showdown. it's not hard to get along with people. Being the better person in the situation is always the thing to do, and that's the way why I say don't react first. If you react first, you know it's going to become a problem. You know it is, and that's just how it goes down. So we did have some comments on this that I wanted to share because I just thought they were good. You can disagree with me. That don't matter. My show. Anyway, number one, I live in a neighborhood with a lot of car men in their 60s that have found a similar car as they had in their youth, and now they spend their time polishing that jewel. Okay, I know people like that. My closest neighbor goes out to the garage and turns on this Swedish country style music that I absolutely hate. And then he leaves it like that while he's on the other side of the house chatting to another carman neighbor. That's how it is to have neighbors. I guess we do things they find annoying too. Amen to that. Come on. This comment is actually perfect because it quietly nukes the whole my comfort matters more than everyone else's argument without being nasty about it. Because what this person is saying is something most adults eventually learn the hard way. And that is when you live near other humans, you are going to hear their hobbies, their music, their lawn equipment, their conversations, their projects, their weird niche passions. I bet you my neighbors are like, wow, lady, you sure do talk loud over there, but sure, I'm going to make sure you hear me. I got a big mouth. I'm not afraid to say so. But, it's 60-year-old car guys blasting Swedish country while polishing vintage rides, which sounds unbearable to this commenter. Okay. But instead of matching over and demanding silence, every time they shrug and go, that's neighbors, because that's the social contract of shared space. You tolerate some noise and then tolerate some, and they tolerate some of yours, right? So the important part is that they're not saying the car guy is right or that they personally enjoy the music. They're saying coexistence means occasionally hearing stuff you didn't pick. And that's exactly what applies to the original poster, because daytime background music in a backyard is in the same category as garage radio, lawnmowers, kids playing, or somebody reviving or revving an engine for way too long, right? It's not targeted harassment. It's people living their lives. And that's why the smiley faces in the comments matter too, because look, it frames as annoying but survivable. Not call the authorities, right? And honestly, that's the healthiest neighbor mindset that you can have. Assume you're probably annoying someone sometimes too. Don't take every sound personally and save the confrontations for actual extremes like midnight parties or constant blasting. So, as a talking point, this is great because it reinforces that normal daytime noise is part of community living, not a personal attack. And that perspective alone would probably solve half the neighborhood wars on earth if more people adopted it, right? All right, we have another one here. Not the a-hole. My backyard. I'll do what I want would apply if the noise started and stopped in your backyard and it did not bother anyone else. I understand if he did not ask nicely that you would not want to turn it down. But honestly, this is the defensive knee-jerk response for anyone anytime they're being inconsiderate. It's not that loud. It's not that bad. I don't want to hear people's music in my home if I'm working or trying to sleep or relax. Noise pollution is a real thing. This is why I don't ask people nicely face to face like humans anymore. I am not interested in a philosophical discussion about how the music is not that loud and people puffing up and getting self-righteous and digging their heels in. I simply leave a polite note requesting consideration for neighbors and that next time it will involve an official noise complaint. Okay, this is a completely different outlook on this, right? This is where the conversation actually gets interesting because this commenter is making a reasonable point about noise being subjective and annoying, even when it's technically allowed. And they're right about one thing, okay? People hate to admit it, but almost everyone thinks their own sound isn't that bad, and other people's sound is unbearable. And that's human nature. But where I part ways with them is the jump from noise pollution is real straight to I leave a note threaten an official complaint, because that skips the entire middle ground of adult coexistence and goes straight to escalation, right? And that's exactly how neighborhoods turn into cold wars instead of communities, especially when the situation here is daytime music, not midnight bass rattling the windows, okay? Not someone trying to sleep after a night shift, not an everyday occurrence, and not a family ignoring repeated reasonable requests. And even if it is an everyday occurrence, if it's in the middle of the day and they're not breaking any rules and it just sounds loud from your house because it doesn't sound like your music, that's to me, that's the real crime. Okay. If you can't be open to somebody else's music and you don't want to be, that's fine. That's fine. Turn on your own music or turn your TV up just a little bit louder, because I guarantee you it's not loud enough to drown out the noise that you just turned off in your kitchen or your front room or whatever TV you turned off because you heard a little bit of bump, bump, bump. Because that's what part of them do, right? The little bump, bump, bump. Hi, Des. Good to see you, honey. It's seriously, they hear this little bitty bump, bump, bump. So they got to turn everything they got going on down. I mean, ceiling fans and anything that might make any kind of noise. Just wait and hear and make sure of where it's coming from, because they got to make sure where it's coming from first before they can get mad. And then they get mad. And I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Because come on. Keep the peace in your neighborhood. You have to live by these people. And if you don't want to move, then don't react. Was married to a bad voice person. Couldn't sing one song, one tune in tune if she tried. LOL. That's a different situation. I think what that is, honestly, is, did she sing though? If she sang, then my girl, because you know what? You don't have to sing good to sing and make yourself feel better about it. That's how I feel about music. You want to sing? I don't care if you sing good or not. I got a brother-in-law that's got a monotone and everybody knows it, including him, but he still sings because he likes the song, and that's okay. That's in fact amazing to me. You go right ahead. You dance like nobody's watching, right? So yeah, I'm gonna have to sit with this one right here. Honestly, kind of ticked me off, that last, because you know what? Why would you send out a note saying, okay, guess what? I'm gonna call the cops on you? That is so bitchy, y'all. That is so bitchy. Come on. Yes, see, 10 years of no auto tune or pitch correction. Hey, I tell you what, I don't have none of that either. And hey, my speaking voice is very different from my singing voice. And thankfully, I had some lessons. So we're not bad in either one. Maybe. I'm hoping my speaking voice isn't as bad. People are here, so I must be doing something right. All right. So I do have 3 stories today. We're going to get started on the second one. I'm going to let y'all sit with that for a minute because I'm going to need a break here in a minute, but I do want to go ahead and read it to you and get you sitting with it real quick. That way, when I come back and we got a few comments and some edits and stuff, I think we'll have to talk about this one because it's a smaller one. So I just wanted to get this one in there because it's fun. Aw. I'm glad to see you, Des. Do you like the new time change? Is this better for you? I'm trying not to hit your soap operas during the day. I hope I made it. I got to seeing that the other day. I saw that post and I was like, man, I'll bet that's what that's about. I need to be after the stories during the day. B. Got you, brother. Got you. Love you, man. All right, here we go with this next story here. Oh, I found some things that made things work better for me today and everything. So we are moving right along. All right, am I the a-hole for being petty over music? Y'all see what I'm doing here, right? I got the music in me today. So I work in a factory, and about a year ago, one of my coworkers decided to buy a Bluetooth speaker to use at the factory to play music that everyone working nearby could listen to. Okay, for the most part, it's first come, first serve. If you get to work first, you can connect to the speaker and play whatever music you want to play. Hey, that's cool. But does it stay that way? That's my question. Barring any music featuring the N word, my boss's rule, not anyone else's. Very good. I don't like that either. The coworker who bought the speaker often plays music on it, but it happens to be the same songs every time she's on it. Like, I'm talking the exact same songs every time, and it gets a bit repetitive and annoying to listen to the same stuff over and over. And to make it worse, it's mostly niche heavy metal stuff that nobody else really likes apart from her. She sounds like my twin. Only the bold and the beautiful. So, oh, okay, got you. So I've asked her to put on some music that most people would at least know, so that most people could at least somewhat enjoy the music too. But she says if they want what music they want on, maybe they should buy their own speaker and bring it to work. Okay, here we go. I understood this at first because it seemed fair. Okay, if you voluntarily pay to provide a speaker, you should be able to overrule anyone else, at least to a certain point. Agreed, a certain point. Okay. Don't be rude. Okay, so my point of view changed 2 days ago. There's still this rogue hair. I am so sorry. Okay. My point of view changed 2 days ago when she decided to move the speaker from a central point that allowed most people to hear the music to a level they could enjoy to a place near her work area, which is out of the way of everyone else. What a rude little bitch. Pardon me. So most of us couldn't really even hear the music being played at all. We have a lot of heavy machinery. The kicker is that she has earbuds that she often listens to music on that she uses, but she, on this day, decided to instead take the speaker to her own area. Petty. Away from from most of us and play her own music. And when I asked her to move it back, she refused, saying the same thing as before. At this point, I was willing to be petty. And the next day, here it comes. I brought my huge speaker, JBL Party Box 710. Nice. Which was about 10 times the size of her speaker. And when she walked in with her speaker, I said, looks like you'll be listening to your music through your earphones today. I got a bigger speaker. Oh my gosh, man. Yep. It's cockfight. Lord. I got a bigger speaker that I paid for. She looked at me with a look of disgust and said that she brought hers first. So I just started playing my music on my speaker at a volume she could never beat with her puny speaker. My boss said it was too loud and that I needed to turn it down. Am I the a-hole? Oh, this is so messy. I love messy. Blew her away, right? I know that JBL product too. Yep, he did just fine, didn't he? Oh, so messy in the best possible workplace petty way, right? Because everybody involved decided to escalate instead of de-escalate. And that's what makes it fun to analyze. So let's walk through it cleanly. High fidelity. Yeah, baby. There you go. Oh, because at first, let's think about this. The coworker isn't automatically wrong. Okay, she bought the speaker, she brought it in, and there was an informal system that whoever arrived first got to pick the music, even if her taste was repetitive or niche. That's annoying, but not immoral. Okay, and her buy your own speaker. Oh, it's blunt, but not totally unfair in a factory environment where this wasn't an official perk. But, big, huge but, something she voluntarily provided. However, the moment she moved the speaker away from the shared area and parked it near her own station while still treating it like a communal speaker, that's where she lost the plot. That's just me, okay? But because now it's not serving the group anymore, it's basically becoming her personal boombox that everyone else still has to hear traces of without benefiting from. And that shift makes the original justification a lot weaker, if you ask me. Especially since she's already has earbuds and could have just used those if she wanted full control. So when you rolled in the next day with a massive JBL and announced open audio warfare, that's where you stepped off the moral high ground too. Right? I think you're both wrong here, but that wasn't about fairness anymore. That was about dominance and embarrassment and proving a point in front of everyone, and the boss stepping in is the biggest clue in the story, because the second management says too loud, the answer is automatically yes. That crossed the line into workplace disruption territory. So that isn't a clean, no, you're not the a-hole. Okay, it's a classic, everyone's the a-hole. Oh, God. She was inconsiderate, okay, by monopolizing the shared speaker and relocating it for her own use while still subjecting others to it. But you responded with escalating with a nuclear option instead of going to a supervisor or asking for a simple rule about shared music. And now, instead of solving the problem, you've created an arms race in a factory. Okay, go you. This never ends well. So the smart move from here isn't to keep one-upping each other with bigger speakers. It's to get management to make a clear policy. Either one central speaker controlled by rotation, volume limits, no communal speakers at all, earbuds only, because, and wait, time out, because, I have a problem with earbuds too. What are you doing using an earbuds, not being able to hear the machine that you're working on? This is a factory. It's big machines. You don't want to cloud that. Why do you want music on at all anyway? I get it. You're tired of hearing the machine work, but these are big, huge machines, and one little whine from it can tell you everything you need to know before it sucks you up and eats you, right? I mean, come on. This is where I'm at here. But yeah. See, supervisors are involved in this petty Olympics. They should be over, bottom line, funny, right? Absolutely justified. Partially a-hole, maybe. Everyone contributed to the chaos. Everybody. Boss too. That's where I'm at. The boss contributed. Okay, there are some comments for this one, but we're going to take a little break, and I'm going to bring them back then. Okay, I'll be right back.
She came from the quiet storms, built a fire from the ground, turned a whisper to a warning. Now her voice shakes the town. Every setback was a lesson, every doubt became a key, unlocking something bigger. That's the rise of Boss B. When the lights go low, her vision hits high. She built a whole damn network channel. This is BBTV. A boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel road to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's the queen of the comeback, the storm in the stream, crafting stories out of heartbeats, making visions out of dreams. Got thunder in the hustle, got a voice that cuts clean. Every mic she touches turns the power unseen. So let Bertha spin the numbers, let the views rise slow or fast. Boss Beat doesn't measure wins by echoes of the past. This moment is a pivot, this season's history. Bow down to the founder of the BBTV dynasty. Boss be rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dream, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss be rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. She's got fire in the edits, got truth in the frame, got a heart that won't retire and a gift you can't name. Every loop, every letter, every dream she sets free, it's a love note to the world sign. Boss Beat. And the world keeps watching as the numbers climb, but she's counting all the moments, not the dollar signs. From the late night grind to the daylight scene, she's building something bigger than the algorithm's dream. Boss Beat rising, BBTV shining, her story's rewriting, a legacy in real time. Boss Beat rising, BBTV's igniting. Turn the volume up, yeah, the whole world's invited. From the gravel roads to the neon dreams, she built an empire out of broken wings. Boss Beat rising, sky ain't even the ceiling. When she hits go live, everybody feels it. BBTV, where the stories breathe. BBTV, where the dreamers believe. Boss Beat rising, watch her take her place. This is BBTV, this is her grace.
Join Boss B for Ask a Bee Monday through Friday, 12 noon Central Standard Time and Jukebox Journey every Saturday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right, we are back on it again. Comments. We got some comments today on this one. That was fun, y'all. That was fun. Responsible. Yeah, seemed pretty responsible if you ask me. All right. Think about. There we go. Oh, that thing is bright too fast. Okay. Now we are on number 7. Okay, comments. We got comments. She brought her own speaker You complained about her music, so she moved it to her workspace. She gets her music. You no longer have to be annoyed by her choices. Seems fair to me. But you then decided to be petty because you no longer had the music you repeatedly complained about. Your feud sounds one sided and you sound extremely immature. If you're having that much of an issue with the music setup, take it to your boss, though he's not likely to be particularly helpful now that you've annoyed him with your absurdly loud music. Oh, see, I love getting comments out of here because we get so many different perspectives. And I mean, come on, this one's messy. This commenter came in swinging, and honestly, they're doing the cleanest logical takedown so far because, from their perspective, the coworker actually solved the original complaint by moving the speaker closer to herself, right? Which meant you didn't have to hear the repetitive metal anymore. And if the story stopped right there, there would absolutely, I mean, we wouldn't read it, right? It wouldn't read like a win-win. She keeps her music. You get silence from the thing you were annoyed by. Problem solved. That's why they frame your response as unnecessary escalation, because instead of enjoying the quiet, you decided to retaliate by bringing in an even bigger speaker, which makes it look less like you wanted fairness and more like you wanted to win. Yeah, that's the key word here. Because once someone starts hauling in a JBL party box like it's a WWE entrance, come on. The argument stops being about reasonable compromise and starts being about flexing. What did I say? Cockfight. Yep. And the boss having to intervene only strengthens the commenter's point that you shot yourself in the foot strategically, since management almost always hates noise drama at work, right? And by blasting your own music, you basically turned yourself into the bigger headache in the room. So, as a talking point, this comment is strong because it reframes the situation as you got what you wanted and they decided to escalate anyway. And it reminds viewers that, workspace, it disputes, any disputes are different from neighbor disputes too. Because at work, you don't have the same freedom to make noise wars a personality trait. The correct channel is always management or HR rather than, personal retaliation, even if the other person is annoying. And I mean, you could have approached it a little differently too. Hey, can we listen to some more of your music? Can you play some other songs of your music? These are pretty good, but we want to know what's going on. So yeah, this is a sharp comment that pushes the verdict towards everyone's the a-hole, or, well, I mean, I'm going to stick with everyone's the a-hole on this one. I can't see it differently. It's everybody. Nobody reacted right. Not even the boss man. The boss should probably had that regulation in check in the first place when she brought it in the first time. And did she ask the boss? That's what I want to know. I think that makes a big difference. You should ask, especially in a place with all this big equipment that you're running, right? All right, so here's another one. Wow, you sure showed everyone what a big speaker you have. Congrats, bro. Come on, y'all know I had to add that one in there. And you know why. That is petty in the best form. And I just love petty. I love petty. Come on. Okay, so this commenter didn't even bother with a long argument. They just went straight for this sarcastic throat punch. That's kind of B-style. Because what they're saying in this line, just one line, is that wasn't about fairness. That was about ego. And honestly, that lands because the whole visual of someone dragging in a JBL Party Box 710, and yes, I'm saying it again because, come on, it's important, right? Apparently. And announcing it out loud reads less like conflict resolution and more like a power move for the audience. And that's why jokes like this work so well in comment sections. They strip away all the justifications and reduce the situation to, you wanted to flex. Well, That's brutal but effective. And as a talking point in reinforcement, it reinforces the idea that once you escalate publicly, people stop caring who technically started it and start judging who made the biggest scene. So even viewers who were sympathetic to being annoyed by repetitive music might still laugh and think, yeah, that was a bit much. Come on, you have to admit it. Because in workplaces, especially, theatrics always, always backfire, right? Come on, even when you work for yourself. Seriously. Believe me, I know. Boo. Boo. Well, boo to you too. At least it's not a who. In like scary ghosts. Ah, did that help? I'm in a good mood today. You showed up at the right time with that boo. All right. Now we got another one. This is our last story. I had four, but we're going to leave it at this because we're already 40 minutes into this, and this is a good one too. All righty, here we go. Am I the a-hole for being petty and playing loud music in my room? See where I'm going here? We are music today. I think we're going to stick with music because that's me. First off, I'm on a mobile and English isn't my first language, so sorry for any mistakes. Looks like spell checker got you, buddy. Also, this took place about a year or so ago. I was just reminded of it today and wanted to hear what you guys had to say. My mother's best friend visited us that day. She drove here with her daughter and her husband. I never really liked her husband. He always came off as aggressive to me and overall really weird. Okay. He just has a weird aura and I do not like being around him. I was in my room listening to music from Corpse Husband. Okay, I'm going to have to get that one in my music list, maybe. And apparently they arrived and obviously heard my music. Okay, here we go. It wasn't loud, but you can definitely hear it faintly downstairs. My mother came up to my room and said that I need to listen to a different music because the husband of her friend didn't like it and said it's a sin to listen to such music. Oh, yeah. I was like, what the fork? I would have been too. You see it all over my face. I'm in my own room, in my own house. I can listen to whatever I want. Also, who is he that he could dictate what happens in our house? But I said to my mother, sure, I'll switch it. She returned to the guests who were sitting in the kitchen, which is right below my room. I waited a bit and then decided to play my Death Step playlist on full volume. Petty, 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 petty. Pardon me. Next one. I didn't even get to finish the first song. My mother knocked again and asked me to turn off my music. I said, no, I can hear whatever music I want to hear in my own room. Okay. I offered to turn it down so that they could only faintly hear it in the kitchen like it was before, which wasn't loud. She was okay with it. Later, I came downstairs to get something to eat, and her husband blew up at me, telling me how disrespectful I am and what I am thinking. And what am I thinking making him listen to this satanic music? By the way, I have no idea which religion he has. Okay. Hello, Plus Sister. Good to see you today. How are you, doll? Okay, he said that I should have been considerate and turned the music off. I explained that the music wasn't loud at first and that I could listen to whatever I want, whenever I want. He didn't like that and was pissed the rest of the visit. My family kind of agreed with me, but thought that I should have just obliged to keep the peace. My friends were completely on my side, so I'm asking you, Reddit, was I the a-hole in this situation? Oh, good. That's good news. Always good news. My Plus Sister. So, this one is classic teenager meets judgmental guest energy. And the sequence really matters here, though, because at first you were literally just in your own room listening to music at a normal volume, not blasting speakers through the house. And the only reason it even became an issue was because a guest decided to label your music sinful instead of simply asking for quiet or minding his own business. There's a concept which already puts him on thin ice in my book. And then when your mom asked you to change it, you actually did agree at first, which shows you weren't trying to start a fight from the jump. But then you deliberately cranked Death Step to make a point. That's in the a-hole territory here. Okay. That's the moment where your halo slips a little. Okay. Because that was clearly a petty escalation meant to provoke a reaction, even if his comment was rude and judgmental. And after that, you offered a compromise by turning it back down to a faint background level, which is honestly the most reasonable part of the whole story. Had you not turned it way up like that, that was the bad part. Okay. That landed you right back where you started. Low volume in your own room. So when he came at you later, ranting at you about satanic music and disrespect, that really reads him like projecting his beliefs onto someone else's household. Not cool. Not cool at all. No. Don't do that in my house. Not in my house. Not on my channel. No. No, that's rude. I mean, believe what you want to believe. I have no problem with that. Don't push it on me, right? And that keep the peace argument is understandable too, but doesn't magically make him right. So my verdict here, I think, is something like justified but petty, because you weren't wrong to listen to music quietly in your own space, and you did offer compromise. No problem there. But intentionally blasting a harsher playlist to make a point is still stirring the pot, even if the guest was being dramatic and controlling first. So everyone could have handled it better. Your mom too, I think. But the biggest red flag in the whole story is a visitor trying to impose religious rules inside someone else's home, which is way out of line. And that's why most people would probably land closer to NTA than YTA. Not the a-hole. Yes, the a-hole. With a little side eye and the petty flex in the middle, maybe. Yeah. Because, that just doesn't seem right to me. That's a little off. I'm definitely not happy with the mom in this situation, but never fear. I have more. Just a little bit more. Some edits. That's all. And a comment or two. All right. So, edit. My mother didn't ask me to switch the music or turn it off because it was bothering her. The guy just pressured her to go and tell me. My mom told me afterwards that he was really aggressive and basically threatening my mom that he'll go up himself and make me switch it. Oh, so she did it herself to kind of protect me? I'm not sure. Yes, she did. Of course, if I'd known this, I would have turned it off, down, whatever. I didn't know of this back then. You see, that's an important point. She told me months later that she argued with him after I spoke to him and threatened to throw him out if he tries to dictate anything again. Amen, sis. See, now I knew the mom was not that bad. I also apologized to my mom after they left, and she told me that she wasn't angry or anything. She even understood why I reacted the way I did. Awesome. Awesome, Mom. There you go. She was also tired of his BS. He always pulls something like that, like this, and tries to force my family to only do stuff that he approves of. My mother also told him that he wasn't welcome in our home unless he stops dictating us and expecting us to do everything he wishes. Very good, Mom. Yeah, that edit changes the whole temperature of this story for me, because now it's clear your mom wasn't acting on her own discomfort at all. She was being pressured by an aggressive guest, okay, who was threatening to come upstairs and confront you himself. That in my book is red flag, and he was gone then. That's what would have happened in my house. Bye. You stepped over the boundaries. That's my child. Don't even think about it. Goodbye. See ya. It's done. And it instantly reframes him as the real problem in the room. The fact that she later backed you, argued with him, even told him he wouldn't be welcome unless he stopped trying to control the household, makes it pretty obvious where the moral center of this story actually sits. So with that context, this shifts firmly into not the a-hole territory for me, because you were listening quietly in your own room. Didn't know he was being threatening behind the scenes. Okay. Apologize to your mom afterwards. And you know what? Let's hear it for parents that do that quietly do that. But parents, let them know a little sooner than a year later or whatever, because your kids need to know that you're fighting for them. Okay. Sorry. Something flew up my nose. That is one of my biggest things. Rewards for good behavior, consequences for actions, right? My children learned reactions are everything. And that consequences for actions, rewards for good behavior. You have to tell them when you believe in them. Okay? Tell your children when you believe in them, because they don't know unless you do. And not enough parents do that today. There are too many children out there with low self-esteem because they don't know that their parents are proud of them. Because I'm sorry, I don't care what kind of a parent you are, good or bad. You're not telling your child how proud you are. Not enough. Not enough. We would have children with much better self-esteem, with much better outlooks on their own lives, if we would just tell them how proud we are of them. I'm just saying, I'm not a professional. That's just my opinion. But that's what I'm saying. You need to tell your children you're proud of them. I don't care how old they are. You can be 95 years old and they're 83 or something, whatever. That's probably not good math. But my point is, tell them you're proud. They need that from you. Okay? And when you have a child that may not do it all the way, the right way, but mostly the right way, you need to say that to them. You have to say that to them. And don't treat one child differently. Okay? Say it to both equally and give a reason that you're proud for something that you've seen them do, and pay attention, because you need to see what they're doing, because you're going to be proud. There are some great kids out there. They just need better direction. Okay? So, Mom, I'm proud of you going back and saying, hey, this is what really happened. It's a little too late. Should have been just that very moment, and it should have been in front of her because you were defending her. Don't do these things quietly. Don't do these things quietly. If you're going to defend your child, do it loudly, because that makes them feel your pride. And yeah, pride may be a sin, but when it comes to kids, it's necessary. It is a necessary sin if you want to. Look, y'all, I'm a pastor, okay? I'm not a very religious person, but I believe it. Pride is a sin unless it's directed in the correct way. And when you have pride in yourself and in your children and your spouses, that's when God smiles about your pride. Okay? I'm not pushing my religion, but I'm just saying there's a higher power out there that smiles down on you when you show your pride the right way. Okay? So, Mom, last thought. Next time, be a little more forthcoming. Do it in front of her. Do it with her. Make her a part of it, because she's the reason. Daughter, don't be petty. Respect your mama. Okay? To the dude and his BS, bye. Bye. That would have been done for me. Done. Said, done. You're gone. Okay? Don't bring him back, Mom. Don't bring him back. He's not worth it. Your child is worth much more than that. All right, y'all. I went off on a tangent on that one because you know what? I'm serious. I'm serious. Don't do this. Okay? Just don't do that to your child. Bring it up, pull it out, do something about it. Okay? Your child is way more important than that. Way more important than that. And do not mess that up because you can. You can very easily. All right. Couple of comments. We have here ESH. That means everyone sucks here. It would be fair that you should turn the volume down a bit, but making you listen to something different and calling it a sin is just stupid. Agreed. The original poster responded. That's what OP means. OP response is, I mean, it wasn't that loud at all, but I agree. I could have turned it down a little bit, at least to not make my mother uncomfortable. There you go. There's something to be proud of. That answer alone, that response is something to be proud of. This exchange is actually a great wrap-up moment for the story because the commenter lands on ESH by acknowledging both sides, saying, yeah, maybe turning it down a bit would have been responsible, but also calling out how ridiculous and overreaching it was for the guests to label your music a sin and try to control what happens is someone else's house. That's ridiculous. And then the original poster's response is what really strengthens their case, right? Because instead of doubling down on pretending that they were perfect, they admit that they could have handled that one part better for their mom's sake, which makes them come off as self-aware and mature rather than purely spiteful. So as a talking point in this one, this is useful because it shows growth and accountability, and that even when someone else is clearly being unreasonable, you can still own the tiny part you could have done difficult or differently, without conceding the whole argument, right? All right, so another, I am going to say ESH, except your mom. Kind of there with you. With yours only being a very soft a-hole. I giggle every time I type that, and I am 44. Honey, 54, and I giggle. And I giggle because I try to take that out of there, and I didn't, did I? Okay. Playing the same kind of music louder didn't improve the situation at all, and probably made it very uncomfortable for your mom. True. Who seems to be pretty cool. Yeah, she still had some issues. Dude had no right to come into someone else's house and accuse them of listening to satanic music or to comment about anything at all, than to yell at you as if you were his own kid. And I love the OP response here. You made me laugh too. Thanks for that. I realized that, and I apologized to my mom afterwards. He always does this, always a reason why I don't like being around him. Good reason. That's a very good reason. I'm sorry, but it is. This comment is basically the most reasonable middle ground version of ESH. Everyone, because they carve out the mom as completely innocent, point out that blasting louder music probably made things awkward for her, while still absolutely roasting the guest for trying to police someone else's household and yelling at a kid who isn't his own. And the original poster's reply seals the deal because they laugh along, acknowledge the impact on their mom, and remind everyone that this guy has a pattern of controlling behavior, which keeps the focus where it belongs, on the guest being the real long-term problem a-hole, while the original poster's pettiness stays a minor footnote rather than the headline. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. All right, last one. So, yes, that guy overstepped, but you were disrespectful to your mother. That happened, and that's not okay. She requested that you turn it down, and you said you would, and then you deliberately did the opposite. True. You're the a-hole if you want to tell that guy he has no right to come to your home and tell you what you can do in your own room. And that his idea about music being satanic is just plain weird. No, I don't agree. You could go down and politely say that. No, there's no polite saying. And he's, no, I'm sorry. This is not cool. Rather than blasting your music to piss him off. Okay. That part is the only part I agree with. And she responded to this. At first, my mother wanted me to switch the music, which I did. I know it was petty, but I obliged her request. Then she asked to stop the music, which I didn't. But I offered to turn the volume down, with which she was okay. I apologized to her afterwards because I was afraid that I made it uncomfortable for her. But she said it was okay, and she understood why I reacted that way. She told me months later that she even defended me afterwards and really argued with that guy. Okay, I don't like the comment. I'm going to put that out there. Look, this comment goes hard on the idea that the real line crossed was towards the mom rather than the guest, which is true. And I kind of went that way too. But arguing that agreeing to change the music and then escalating was disrespectful to her. I'll agree with that part too. But I also think that, that original poster's reply really weakens that verdict because they clarify that they initially did comply. Later offered a compromise. The mom accepted, apologized afterwards, and were later told their mom actually defended them and wasn't upset, which reframes the situation as less about disrespecting her and more about a messy moment under pressure, right? Caused by controlling guests. So by the end of the thread, this reads less like a clean YTA and more like another version of, yeah, the petty part wasn't ideal, but the bigger problem was the visitor. At least in my opinion, okay? Because plain and simple, y'all. This guy, he's kind of rude. Okay, I that commenter's rude. I think maybe he could do with a little bit of respect too. She tried. Okay, I like this young lady. I think mom's done very well with her. She found herself in this moment, if you ask me, because she learned after the fact, but what petty really was, and that being like that was more uncomfortable for her mother than it was for the person that was doing this. And she apologized to her, and she stood up. She was accountable, and I think that's the most important thing out there is accountability right now, right? Especially with our kids. They need to own up to their mistakes because that's how we learn. We learn from our mistakes, right? All right. That's where we're going to wrap this one today because I think that's good enough. I had another one, but man, it's too long for this. Listen, if there is one theme that ran through every single story, it's that music has a funny way of turning small annoyances into full-blown standoffs, right? Whether it's neighbors, coworkers, roommates, or unwanted guests. It's crazy, right? So thank you for hanging out with me, breaking these down in the chat. Thank you, Des. I love you, honey. Make sure you hit that like button for me. And if you had fun today, subscribe. If you're near around here, stick close because we've got more coming your way, including this evening. We have Grow and Glow Academy with me and Big Jack. I'm the co-host. Yay! Y'all be there. It will be at 7 p.m. Eastern. And listen, I want to address something too before I go. I don't care if you come to my channel or if you go to the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. When you support one of our channels, you're supporting us all. Okay? Because we are a team and we love you guys. Okay? Love you, Nisi. I'll see you later, honey. Big kisses and hugs for you, my bestest sister. All right, you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button for me before you take off, okay? I'm going to let you go with a little bit of Yeah, Tuber Chat and VB. It's got her times right at least. I will work on that trailer. I've got to fix the end of it. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Love you guys bunches. See you later, Niecy. Bye, Des. Love you guys. Lots and lots.
I want to take a minute to shout out Tuber Chat. If you're a creator who's tired of surface level advice, and actually wants to understand how YouTube works, that's the space. It's real conversations with real creators who are in the trenches building channels, testing ideas. No posturing, no gatekeeping, no fake guru energy, just people sharing what's working, what isn't, and why.
If you're serious about growing, learning, and not doing this alone, check out Tuber Chat. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying this show, subscribing is the easiest way to support what's being built here on BBTV. You'll see the join button right next to subscribe. No pressure, no expectations, just an option for people who want to support the channel in a real way.
We're live every day at 3 p.m. Central now.
And don't worry, we didn't change the heat, just the clock. And if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. Anonymous is always fine.
Boss be right.